Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host Owen, guys, bringing you your team every single day, bringing you news on Glasgow Rangers every day, guys, bringing you all the latest news, views, speculation, rumours, stories, everything, as well as podcast. Obviously, we've got the podcast coming up on Wednesday. Myself and Maria Bannatyne from Heart and Hand. We're talking about Glasgow Rangers, and obviously podcasts to look forward to. Victoria and I planning a number of really special guests coming on very soon indeed. Anyway, let's talk about this young man here. Let's talk about Malik Tillman. Now, obviously, Malik had a superb season for Rangers last year. The 20-year-old American playing his first ever season of professional football, full season of professional football. Gave some notable performances. And I know there has been some criticism from some areas of the fan base, particularly in reference to his performances in the Old Firm. However, he did suffer a season-ending injury in the Scottish Cup semi-final against Celtic, when many people thought he was having a much improved performance against them. Now, Rangers obviously took Tillman on loan from Bayern Munich at the end of last season, start of this season. Now, when the loan move was agreed, the Bayern sporting director, Hasan Salihamidzic, who was an ex-Bayern player, agreed in that loan agreement that there would be a buyout clause, an option to buy. If all parties were in agreement, then a fee of $5.2 million not dollars, pounds even, would be paid by Rangers to Bayern Munich for the services of Malik Tillman. Once Tillman obviously returned to Bayern at the end of this season after his season-ending injury, which was understandable, he is still their player and they wanted to assess the extent of the injury. There then appeared to be some uncertainty over the future of Tillman coming to Rangers. Reports in the media suggested that Tillman was not happy to return to Scottish football and wanted to stay and fight for his place at Bayern. Also, then there was rumours coming out that Tillman did not like Scottish football and wanted to find a move into another league elsewhere in Europe. Then stories emerged that Tillman was intending to return to Rangers and had enjoyed his time in Glasgow and wanted to play due to his excellent relationship with head coach manager Michael Beale. Now there appears to be another snag in the Tillman ointment, on the fly in the Tillman ointment. I don't know what we're going to say. A snag in the line, a problem, an issue as regards Tillman returning to Rangers. Now, the gentleman, like I said, who negotiated the clause as regards the buyout clause of 5.2 million was sporting director Hasan Salihamidzic. Also involved in that process was the chief executive officer of the club, who is ex-Bayern and ex-German international goalkeeper Oliver Kahn. Now, at the weekend, Bayern Munich won the German league title on the final day of the season with a dramatic 2-1 victory. And Dortmund, who were the favourites going into the final day of the season, drew 2-2 with Mainz, I think it was, to actually lose out on the title on the final day, with Bayern pipping them to the post. However, Bayern have had a much unsettled season. Julian Nagelsmann, who was their manager at the start of the season, was sacked by the club and replaced eventually by Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel saw them through to the end of the season and saw them to that league title. However, there now appears to be big change sweeping through the German club. It was announced this morning that Hasan Salihamidzic, the guy with the beard and the white t-shirt, who is the sporting director, is being sacked by Bayern Munich. Add to that as well that the chief executive officer of the club, Oliver Kahn, former German international goalkeeper, has also now been sacked by the club as well. And Bayern are currently without a sporting director and without a chief executive officer. Add to that as well the fact that discussions have now begun over the future of Thomas Tuchel. Even though Tuchel helped them to the Bundesliga title, there appears to be doubts over whether Bayern want him to continue as manager. And the season was described as being still very frustrating for the Bavarian Giants. Now, how does this affect Rangers? That's what I guess you are all asking. Well, Tillman has obviously made it very clear that he wants to take his time over making the decision about a move to Rangers, and obviously wants time to think about it. Rangers apparently have until early June to make a decision on whether or not they want to activate the clause. Obviously, then there would have to be agreement from Bayern and from Malik Tillman. However, It now appears that with this huge change at the Allianz Arena, with the departures of Salihamidzic, Khan, and possibly also their manager, Thomas Tuchel, it may scupper any deal Rangers have for Tillman, or in fact, or possibly even delay that said deal because of, if it was to go through, that is, because of the fact that a new manager, a new sporting director may well want to run their eye over Tillman to see whether he has a future with the Bavarian Giants. Certainly something that Tillman perhaps has indicated in the past he would like the opportunity to impress with Bayern Munich. Add to that as well, any new sporting director, any new chief executive officer is going to take time to be appointed. Now, obviously, that time then, once that due diligence has been done, the interviews have been done, and someone has been appointed, they will then want to cast their eye over any prospective deals, contracts, agreements made by the previous regime and how it affects them and whether they think that is a good deal for the club and whether they want that to continue. Now, obviously, with Salihamidzic going, obviously, it is not solely down to him. It will be down to, obviously, the whole Bayern board, which is obviously, I think, running a slightly different way to many clubs around Europe. Now, there was apparently scheduled to be a phone call between Bayern and Rangers this week to discuss Tillman's future. However, it now appears that phone call is highly unlikely to take place with the departures of Salihamidzic and Khan. You know, at the end of the day, there is nobody now in the position of sporting director or chief executive officer to negotiate contracts or transfers at this moment in time for Bayern Munich. Now, obviously, going into a busy summer, Bayern will want to move quickly to ensure that they have someone in place so they can negotiate their transfers and obviously retain players they want to retain going forward. I mean, they have been linked, for example, with West Ham's and England midfielder Declan Rice. But it certainly could scupper any deal that Rangers would want to put in place for Tillman, at least in the short term, until a successor is appointed. And like I said, then you've got to wait for those successors, the sporting director, possibly manager as well, and chief executive officer to make the decision on whether this loan agreement that was made at the start of last season is one they want to continue with. Like I said, it was a situation where all parties had to be in agreement over the selling of Tillman. And if, for example, Bayern decide that they do not want to sell Tillman, given the fact that he is still their player, they are quite within their rights to do that. So obviously this Tillman deal could well be scuppered by these departures and sackings this morning. Well, Rangers fans, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the sackings of Salihamidzic and Khan and how they could affect any deal for Tillman? And do you want to see Malik Tillman back at the club? Is he worth the reported £5.2 million that Bayern are asking for him? 28 Premiership appearances, 10 goals, 4 assists, 5 Champions League appearances, 4 Champions League qualifier appearances with 1 goal, 1 assist, and 1 Scottish Cup goal in 3 appearances and 3 League Cup appearances, giving Tillman a total of 43 appearances for Rangers last season, scoring 12 goals with 5 assists, so 17 goal contributions in 43 games, playing over 2,900 minutes for Rangers. So is he worth that money? Do you want to see Rangers spend 5.2 million on Tillman, or do you think the money could be better spent elsewhere? Let me know in the comments below. But once again, thank you very much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, guys, if you've loved the content and you want your team every day, you need that Rangers fix every day, and we will be going throughout the summer. Hit that sub, ring that notification bell, set it to all, then you won't miss out on any of the great content. If you can give the video a like, guys, I would appreciate it. Because remember, we are one family. We are the Glasgow Rangers family. We are the people. I'll be back to speak to you again very soon here on the channel on Glasgow Rangers Nation.